Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War with our Allied playthrough. In the last episode, we went ahead and moved on to April, yes, 1943. Our assault on Germany, soon to be Italy, and Japan continues, with very stubborn holdouts as we approach their capital, slowing us down. Let's look at Japan. Speaking of, we have the Osaka Boitai army that stepped on Osaka after we destroyed the garrison that was sitting here. We can go ahead and arty that army, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We've dealt 2 damage with that arty, even with defensive artillery firing on my artillery. That's kind of weird that that's even a thing. But we'll take the 13th army and now fire on the Osakans, taking a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, the 23rd Army here is not in the best of states, and everything here is just so bunched up together, and the rain takes away action points. These guys don't have any mobility. Actually getting them up to strength is going to hurt. We can go ahead and upgrade the 54th Army with its weapons, mobility, and the like. We want to get more of these upgraded units on the front. The ones we have up here right now are definitely slowing us down. What I can do, if I'm okay with skipping some heavy artillery for the next round, is I can go ahead and swap to get this army moving forward, and swap again, and then that will allow me to swap the arty back and then get these infantry their upgrades next turn, and then have the new army doing the attacking. On the north side, it's snowing, which very much limits what we can do, unfortunately. We'll get the upgrades that we need for the 42nd Army now that they're back here. Even with mobility, though, it's pretty hard to move around in these mountains and hills and across these ways. However, we can still perform some attacks against the enemy corps here, 4th Corps, defending this town for what it's worth, and then we can take the Dare to Die Special Forces and send them to attack. Despite having winter debuffs, they'll go ahead and lose a little bit because of it. And we're in a similar situation where I'd love to get this army up. It'd probably be better than having arty up there. So I'll just swap the army in. Either way, the arty is only getting 1 shell per turn. The arty would have a chance to get more shells per turn with this swapping thing I'm doing. For the time being, that should hopefully help speed us up. So let's go ahead and swap the Dare to Die back in the 41st Army up to the front. They'll have at least a little bit of entrenchments, whatever that's worth. My bombers may not be any good, but I do still have bombers that I can use to weaken up the readiness, morale, and etc. of the enemy. Probably something I should have done earlier, but at least their resistance now to my shittier bombers won't be as good. Let's go ahead and try the attack bombing. Of course, fighters and escorts, more things for them to spend money on. Their money is far more limited than mine. No damage, but their readiness and morale definitely going down. Let's try again with the medium bombers. Interceptors, escorts, same deal. More damage to their fighters, some damage to my fighters. And no damage from the bombers or to the bombers, but the enemy morale is down to 14% here. That shit doesn't go back up very easily. So hopefully that has a noticeable effect. The supply here is like really bad right now for some reason. I'm going to go ahead and move these fighters over here. They're not even attached to the HQ. 1, 2, 3. Looks like it only has 3 things attached. Very weird. It should be able to attach at least 4 things, if not more, with all the command and control. Well, actually, no, we don't have any. So 4. As China, with my remaining 414 MPPs, we're going to go ahead and purchase the Manchukuo HQ, the only one they can make. It's not going to be cheap, and in fact I can't even afford the upgrades for it right now, but we don't make enough money to really care about that. But I will go ahead and purchase to get it building. I'll give it its upgrades later. I'm going to get the Manchukuo HQ. It's not as good as the Chinese ones, but I want to get like a Manchukuo HQ and like 4 of the armies made, and then if this drags on long enough, maybe I can do something with that. I'm not sure. That pretty much takes care of China. I have this engineer that could go do more stuff, but he doesn't need to. The Japs are never going to push the Chinese off of here. The Chinese have endless troops that can just pour on here for every one that they lose. They just don't have the tech to push the Japanese any faster than we're already doing. And the Japs could just keep making new units here, theoretically. So we're going to want to keep taking things away from them. In the meantime, for example, this Eniwetok place, there's still the fact of the matter that we could go try to get it. We probably need to use our carriers, maybe some other things. I'm really not sure. But we can give it a shot. So right about here should be in range. Well, first let me set this to bomber mode. Otherwise, it's gonna fuck up. Eniwetok. So I know there's someone here. Let's go ahead and try and bomb that bitch. No damage, unfortunately, but the readiness and morale must be going down. No damage given, but no damage received either. I'll send the Lexington carrier out as well. We'll set that to bomber. We took one airplane loss. I can't imagine that's made quick work of this or anything. Its readiness morale is very low, but it's not low enough. We'd still need other things. I was going to upgrade the Texas here, but I might just go send it out instead, because we can do damage to the enemy supply and other things by using battleship. Let's go ahead and do a strike. Dealing damage to the supply underneath, yep. And we would need more battleships to do much more. A lot of the battleships aren't actually in range, however. And there's nowhere to land on this fucking island except for right here. So, the maritime bombers can go bomb over there. That's kind of funny. Well, the Japs don't really have much to hit us with at this point. Let's go ahead and just send the 4th Marine Division Special Forces right up here behind the carriers. I believe a lot of these things are marked to get upgrades. However, I don't know. Like, again, I don't think the Japs can really threaten our stuff out here. Maybe they can reach this and do what they did last time to this one guy. I don't really know. They only really have a battleship and some subs remaining, and I don't think any of it's near here, to be honest. Most of the naval forces I wanted to get upgrades have technically already gotten them, because most of them went to the west coast. So I'm gonna start moving these by naval cruising them. And then when they arrive, they should be able to do some damage to this as well with their bombardments. That should help. I'll get the special division forces bullshit away from here for now. We're going to want to eat away at this. Maybe I should have waited, you know, before doing this. I don't know. Who knows? I'll just keep that safe. We've only lost one fighter, and we have reduced the readiness and morale here quite a bit. It can recover a little bit, but it doesn't recover that fast, so I'm really not worried. Move the New York battleship forward. We'll move this Astoria cruiser forward. We'll move the New Orleans forward in a little bit of a defensive formation. Things that are here might as well just upgrade because, well, we're having the actual units doing all the coastal bombing and such that need to actually sail out here just to take part in this invasion. And we could maybe use all these battleships to blow up anything that's there, like battleships and I guess the limited air bombing we can do. There's not a whole lot we can do. But anything else, I'll just go ahead and upgrade. I'll move anything that desperately needs repairs or upgrade back to Hawaii later, but for now, we kind of have the idea of how this is going. I'll leave the Texas battleship out here. If I can lure out their other battleship and kill it, that would be great. Then I would just never have to worry about it again. But I can see that breaking this is going to be interesting. Anything that takes up a 1 hex location that you have to assault by sea is not easy. It's really not easy. We can go ahead and upgrade the Somers destroyer too. Most things are still going to get upgraded. 683 MPPs remaining as America. We have the production technology research can be researched to max. 558 MPPs remaining as America. We do have the American invasion of Italy to look at. So this will be fun. This will be fun. The first thing I guess we would want to do is send submarines out just to make sure that that region is safe. So first we'll send the DEI one out there. Then we'll send this British one over here. And it appears to be safe. At least the path directly going there is safe. However, there is going to be the problem of Ooh, I don't know. The fact that this is probably garrisoned at least. These two, the army and the tanks in the back, can arrive to land, but they won't be able to get an attack in, given the circumstances. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and sail the tanks up here. Drop them right there. Suffer some landing casualties, that's fine. Send the army up. Drop them right there. No casualties there, that's nice. Yeah, our tanks are not as good as our infantry. That's not related to the landing casualties, I'm just looking at the amount of damage we can do. This army can do good damage to Syracuse all by itself, that'll be handy. I guess we can have the carriers hitting this guy, but we could also just like use a battleship too, but we'll definitely want some aerial cover due to the amount of air power that the enemies have here. So I'm thinking what the best way to do this is really going to be. These are just garrisons, is something to be absolutely stressed. These are just garrisons. So one thing we can do, let's see here. We can take the second army. We can sail it up to this garrison and get it ready for an attack. Now, battleships are only going to be able to do so much. Unfortunately, if we go ahead and put this to bombers and then send it a little bit closer, we find we're not able to do much guaranteed. This is where having fighter coverage is going to be critically important. So let's send the Ark Royal carrier forward. Let's send, where's the other one? The Illustrious carrier forward. We have a little bit of a location that we can kind of blockade here. So let's actually move the Ark Royal carrier down here. We're kind of in this blocking location, okay? This will work out pretty well. We'll send the Formidable carrier into this blocking location as well. We can then send Norfolk Heavy Cruiser and Kent Heavy Cruiser. And now this is all blocked off, like completely. So the carriers can be safe from one direction. And we have more cruisers and such that we can actually start sending over here, especially if we are not little bitches about where we put our battleships. But seeing as we control a lot of this coast, one thing to keep in mind, however, is the presence of enemy submarines in these waters. The Italian Navy could come out to play. We just need to essentially keep the carriers safe. The carriers could go after the enemy ships. And just secure at least one town. Now, it could be either of these towns. Doesn't have to be very particular. So, let's start by using the Third Army to do their attack on Syracuse. And they've almost completely secured Syracuse already. Okay, that's not bad. Well then, let's take the Bradley HQ over here. And let's attack. And then land the HQ. I can't land the HQ now. Okay. Well, that is a mechanic I did not realize would be a thing. Wonderful. Alright, we'll take the First Army and send it over here. And land the First Army there instead. The Second Army will go ahead and attack the enemy garrison and then land. Army suffers landing casualties. Attack the enemy garrison. Alright, now attack with the tank. Alright. So we've secured the location. We'll go ahead and move the First Army forward. My only problem is that after doing its attack, the Bradley HQ proved incapable of landing. I did not realize that that would be a thing. However, they'd be hard-pressed to get any reinforcements over here, and our supply here at the start is not actually going to be that bad. That is everybody except the HQ having landed. So we need to now reorganize to protect this fucking HQ. Now that this had to go ahead and happen. Meaning we don't need the carriers for dealing with enemy land units, which is actually ideal. So, let's see how we can do this now that this stuff is blocked off appropriately. Get the Triumphant Light Cruiser. We only need 2 light cruisers to block this off. That'll be nice. We'll just use light cruisers specifically. And that is officially blocked off. Now, Sheffield Light Cruiser can come just next to Malta, and we're going to create a little safe space for our fleet over here. The Southampton Light Cruiser can come right around here. And we're out of light cruisers, but we have a Suffolk Heavy Cruiser that can fill in right here. Now, we can start bombing the enemy ships to really fuck with their supplies. or we can use these carriers to provide air cover. Now, I'm tempted, like, I'm just curious to see if I don't start bombing them. Are they going to start moving their ships out of port? Because if they do, that could be pretty nice. That could be pretty fucking handy. As of right now, if I go bombing, I don't even know how it's going to turn out. I could see the fucking Greek fighters are apparently going to defend us, which is hilarious. We do want to get these battleships into this formation, is one thing. So we're going to naval cruise the battleships if we need to. We want to get them pressed out further into the Mediterranean. Prince of Wales will go up to this island. Another battleship. This one can get... And we also have these ports. Like, these ports are technically a safe space for battleships and such as well. So we can use that to our advantage. And this port. Let's see. We're down to just battle cruisers and heavies. Alright. Let's put you back on fighters, which I don't believe consumes anything. I'll move you as far into the formation here as I can get, which will stop me from putting you to bombers, but I don't really think I want to bomb, to be honest. If they do march out, they could do some damage to my cruisers, sure. But if they do march out all in one place, they're not getting away. So rather, I'll just have these guys in their intercept mode, and I'll just move them into the formation here. And then they'll provide their support, and plus we also have anti-air in the location. It's just so well defended, you know what I mean? We'll put the Hood battlecruiser over here. We'll put the Renowned battlecruiser over here. We got this heavy cruiser that doesn't need to be over here, but we'll put it over here. We don't need any naval forces in this region. And now with the Brits, their job of escorting the Americans in is pretty much done, with the exception of my mistake with the Bradley HQ. I just didn't realize you wouldn't be able to land if you didn't attack. Shit, the other ones can do it. But I think I kind of understand. We will send... What's supply like up here? It's terrible everywhere. Alright. We'll send the Sudanese First Corps up north. It's going to take a while to reach the front. We can send the WDF army forward a touch. The Sudanese HQ is finally taking care of its own. And oh my god, look! The fucking planes are attached to the HQ. Holy crap. Let's go ahead and reinforce every single plane. My god. So, what do we have here? Let's move the WDF army forward. And here we have the first Croatian garrison. Nothing that we can do to it right now, however. Unfortunately, we'll move the Rhodesian Special Forces forward up to it as well. Then, let's see what else we can do. I want to reinforce these tanks, but I can't, which makes me sad. Move the 10th Army. These guys are still like too entrenched to really do too much about. There's a lot of entrenchment to deal with. The Brits primarily have to get moving towards Italy. Liberating Yugoslavia is a little bit secondary. We'll move the army, the 10th Army, up towards the Bihaks or whatever the fuck. We'll move this artillery forward into a defense position around Belgrade. Supply still really catching up over here, so there's not a whole lot of reinforcements that we can do on a lot of these units. But the Epirus Army can get some reinforcements. I do want to reinforce it, as well as the 1st Corps. As well as the 3rd Corps on Sofia, if I can, I can. This Corps can get some AA upgrades, I will take that. We don't need to worry too much about getting AA upgrades, but they do keep hitting us with AA, or air. So taking advantage of this would definitely be a good thing. Now, I don't know if I want to really extend past this river. That might not be smart. We might just want to wait for prepared strikes that we can get on the enemy. I'm not so sure that moving that rapidly is smart. The armor tanks could cut off the rail line into Hungary. That would certainly help the Soviets. However, I'm still thinking of playing it safe. I'm taking it nice and slow, or trying to take it nice and slow in most cases, to make up for this stuff. Well, let's see. The Epirus Army can't get very far due to the mud and these other situations, even with the trucks. So I'll give them their anti-air defense. That's fine. The HQs already have their anti-air defense, except for the Sudanese one, so we'll give that to the Sudanese one. The Sudanese themselves, we will go ahead and just give anti-air defense to. We're going to move nice and slow, nice and slow. With some of America's remaining money, I'm going to go ahead and purchase another Marine Division Special Forces with all the upgrades. And let's get that purchasing. There's only one more that we can make. Can we get it fully upgraded? Yes, we can. So we can recruit our final special forces, which is just going to be named First Ranger because it is. And then that will be all of our special forces that we can get, which sounds good to me. That's another 241 MPPs. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Because that could be really handy in breaking Japan by taking the islands and stuff. Maybe they could surrender without even losing Tokyo. There are a lot of national morale things of importance here, and with the entire US fleet dedicated on this side, breaking through them could be easy. We'll see. We'll see how well it goes. We'll move this battleship back for now. We'll see once we get, like, the carriers and battleships. Probably primarily battleships with how I look at how this is going. The carriers are just not that good against ground units. The demoralization on battleships seems to be the way to do it. Yeah, demoralization on carriers not that good. Taking the air damage is just probably not worth it. I'll go ahead and move that back, assuming that I might get it some repairs. It's probably not worth it, because you're not very likely to do much damage. Instead, just taking battleships and using it to demoralize the enemy and then attacking with transports when the time comes. That seems to be the way to do it. And in some of these instances, technically speaking, we could be moving other bombers nearby to assist. Like, I could take these medium bombers and I could operate them and put them right here. And what's gonna fucking hurt them? Really, nothing. And then they can try to hit any we talk. That's some more money, but yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. That could come in handy. Usually I'd send fighters with that, but they should be fine by themselves. I think the situation will be under control once we get all these battleships, which may take more than one turn to actually get them in range to start bombarding. However, the amount of them will be so overwhelming, we should be able to go from Eniwetok to around all these national morale objectives that hopefully continue to sink Japanese national morale, which I don't really know if that's been moving very much. Not too much. Occasionally, like I guess when they lose a unit. But with how much we have over them, you'd think it would be faltering a lot faster than that. UK has some more shit to do, reinforcements for carriers and aircraft and things like that. Let's go ahead and get some of these reinforcements over at the home here. The TAC bombers can't really reach Paris from where they are, so I'll go just move those over to London. We will reinforce the number 11 fighters, and I guess while we're at it, we'll move the Coastal Command fighters down to Portsmouth. For the time being, the strategic bombers we will use against Saint Nazaire, keeping that down at 0, stopping the enemies from benefiting from it. We could also start strat bombing Paris specifically, which I guess could help. Theoretically, yeah. We're going to have to defend, however, given the situation. The fighters are going to try to intercept. We have escorts. Damage is damage, though, I guess, huh? Each of our planes take 1 damage, the enemy planes take fucking nothing, but we do end up doing some strat damage to Paris. Italy loses 2 MPPs, and however, oh, you know, that's a pretty big source of MPPs. It has 20 MPP value total. We're going to have to reinforce this now as a result of these actions. And, oh look, now the Canadians are out, ready to play. One of you will stay here, one of you will move out a little bit further, and you're just going to maintain your positions while the other guys continue going sub-hunting. Let's go looking for these fuckers, huh? Where'd they go? Guess they went further north. Let's go looking. Well, they went pretty far north then. They're not raiding anything over here, apparently. That's fine by me. That gives me a chance to go get some upgrades for some of the destroyers, as well as giving them other things that they need. Both of our other carriers are safe in port. Okay, I just had to make sure. We'll send these destroyers to their ports so that they can get reinforcements, so that they can get upgrades. You know they need the upgrades. They're going to need that upgrade. The Annapolis will just start heading back to somewhere that it could get upgrades in Canada. We'll need upgrades for the Javelin as well. So I'll go ahead and naval cruise that over to London to try to get it some naval upgrades. I'm going to take the Parthian sub out of its naval or sub mode, whatever the silent mode is, and we're going to take it and we're going to move it up here near the enemy convoys to try to do some more damage. Their air is in no position to really fight us off. Given that the Americans have landed and that this port will only have 2 turns before you can land units at it, I will go ahead and start sending the South Africans over like I was planning to. They can get more upgrades, but they don't need that right now. Right now, they just need to get a move on. And we can go rest them at the ports in the meantime. Regular transports will be pretty cheap, good for the Brits to be able to afford. These are just 2 cores and an HQ for now. But we'll get them in position. Tripoli, Benghazi, and for the HQ, Tobruk. Let's get that over there. Very good. We do have a South African army we can deploy. So let's go ahead and deploy that over at Durban. We can get 1 more army that their HQ would be able to support, because I'm assuming it can only support 4 units. And that's what we could do with the majority of the rest of the UK's points that it has remaining. Where is South Africa? They can't even get another army. They could just get 1 core, which is actually kind of perfect. Finishing them off, and it's just what 1 HQ can take care of. That would cost me 225 MPPs for the UK. They have 329. Yeah, let's go ahead and purchase that. Finish off the South African core, let's call it. 104 MPPs remaining. And not too much else to do with it. Technically speaking, we do have the Kanga Special Forces over here still that we can give AA upgrades to. But other than that, board a long-range amphibious transport. And technically speaking, we could have it go join the Americans in their occupations. It doesn't really matter if it's the Brits or the Americans getting this stuff because they cooperate anyway. The Americans are sending money to the Brits anyway. So yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go put this bitch on a long-range amphibious transport. A little bit expensive. It's like the rest of our MPPs. Go in the fucking dock, you numbnut. And then it'll be a big help. Their amphibious tech is not as good, so they won't be able to do as good of an attack, for example. However, they could definitely help the American Special Forces in this region. Can the Australians get any more Special Forces? Nope, 1. New Zealand? Nope. So that's like the only one they can even recruit over here. The Indians could have sent stuff over here to help, but that's different. There's nothing else British over here. Yeah, no. There's like, well, maybe Burma. But I doubt Burma can get Special Forces. Yeah, no. So this is the only Special Forces the Brits can even offer. So I might as well get it to work helping the Americans. After all, the Americans helped these British/Australians with keeping Port Moresby under control. So this only makes sense, right? With India, we now have to worry about the fact that the Spanish are not surrendering. We're going to have to go for Burgos after all. So we're going to want to keep an eye on the fact that there is partisan spawns here. I don't know if air can stop partisans. If so, we don't really need to worry about it at all. But I will go ahead and move the BAI army up to the enemies. We will take our tanks and kind of go around, just securing another path. I've sent the artillery up to get ready to assist, but for now, we'll send the HQ up behind it. That can actually sit on Madrid just fine. We'll send the Gurkha Special Forces forward. Anything at Barcelona? Nope. Cool. All right, well, we might as well just secure that then. If they're going to fight us to here, we'll surround them and try to really get in on them. Supply over here is not too great. Otherwise, I would advance from that direction as well. We'll send the paratroopers over here as a little bit of a defense for the HQ. I don't need to go after this garrison. It's not going to cause me much of any pain. So yeah, I don't really need to go after that or deal with that. The fucking tack bombers here could start going after Spanish cruisers. That's funny. I'm more concerned with these guys, but that's one way to hurt the Spanish cruisers, huh? Okay, that sounds fun. Let's go ahead and hit them. We've dealt 2 damage, taken 1 damage. I think that's a pretty good deal. Let's move you forward a little bit, move the fighters up a little bit as well. India has 217 MPPs, which it could probably desperately need to spend on things. Its research is all finishing up. I just haven't been able to do any more of it. Getting indie tech up is definitely very important for them, so they make more and more MPPs. It also helps the UK. So we'll start researching that. That leaves me with 92 MPPs for the Indians, and nothing to really do with the Indians, so yes, the Indians are done, and all that leaves is the Soviets with over 1,000 MPPs right now. That's hilarious, man. But we are out of time for this episode, so I'll see you guys on the next one.